With so many people out there today looking for jobs, you need to make sure you're properly representing yourself. And for some people falling short of getting interviews, the reason is your resume. HR departments are being flooded with resumes, so make sure you submit your resume for an appropriate role. With the difficult economy, candidates are spreading their requirements while companies are tightening theirs, so a well-formatted, clean, and concise resume is what you need. When you submit your resume, do you know who reviews it? Do you know where it goes? Do you even think about how the content matters? Most companies these days have some sort of a database where your resume will get searched on based on many criteria such as keywords, level of education, compensation, and location. This is called an applicant tracking system, or ATS, and is common in companies and agencies with so much information out there today. It's unfortunately the reason you might never hear back from a person about the job you feel you're such a great fit for. But let's dig a bit deeper into this. Why don't you get a reply or an interview when you send your resume and it's a fit for you? So much of the reason your resume initially gets into the gatekeeper's hands is because they've done an internal database resume search for buzzwords in their applicant tracking system. If those buzzwords aren't spelled correctly, you won't get found. So be careful if you don't have buzzword density. Then you won't be on top of the list. But I'm not saying go buzzword crazy, but don't go light either. Many people do because they want to keep their resume to one page, and that's so 1980s. When initially writing your resume, don't think about the length, think about the content. The length can be tweaked in so many ways you haven't even thought of, but that's what we do in our entry-level reformat service. So let's discuss who reviews your resume. It could be anyone from an HR admin, a recruiter, or hiring manager. But most importantly, you're going to get a quick glance at first, so make sure the buzzwords are prominent. If it's a financial package you're proficient with, a programming language that you've worked with extensively, or a writing tool that you use, make sure it's on your resume to reflect where you used it and to what extent. Yes, even writers might need help with their resumes, and that's why they have editors. So how detailed do you get, and why? Adding details to each job will increase your buzzword density without you overselling your skills. You're actually hurting yourself if you don't itemize the details. You also have to consider that if you put your resume on job boards and social media sites like Monster, Career Builder, Dice, and LinkedIn, keyword density is going to improve the results you get from searches. Now remember, your resume is speaking for you over and over. This level of service would be addressed in our refresh service. So how do you prepare for an initial conversation once you get a call back? The call you get could be from a position you applied to weeks ago. You aren't sure what job it's for, exactly what they were looking for, or even worse, what the company does. So how do you politely put off the conversation until you're better prepared? Now remember, they called you, so they are interested. Don't think you're going to lose the job if you ask them nicely to schedule a conversation at a later time. When you do speak with them, here are a few things to keep in mind. First of all, be yourself. If you win the job by being yourself, it's going to be that much better fit and you'll enjoy going to work every day. Next, be honest, but don't overshare. So many people lose it here because they're not prepared and they overshare. If someone catches you off guard or at a difficult time, most HR and recruiting professionals will be open and glad to actually schedule a conversation. Just say, I'm sorry, this is a tough time for me to give this call the attention that it deserves, and I'd really appreciate if we could speak in 10 or 20 minutes or next hour or tomorrow during lunch, and then ask them if that's okay. A true professional should be just fine to schedule something knowing that they called you out of the blue. Now I'm going to make just a few suggestions of things not to say when you're interviewing, so please indulge me for just a moment. I think most of you will laugh with some of these at some point. I'm always looking for a job. I'm open to listening if the money's right. How much does this pay? Does so-and-so still work there? It might not be obvious why these are inappropriate, but think of it from their point of view. It's a first impression, and there are better things you can say to make a better first impression. Okay, here's a great question I get a lot. Should I have a different resume for each type of job that I submit my resume to? Well, the short answer is yes, but it's a little more complicated than that. For example, if you're a sales and marketing professional, one resume could have many directions, so custom tailor your resume to each job. If it's a director of marketing resume, you clearly want to focus on your marketing efforts and tone down the sales facts and figures. If you've done marketing, but you're looking for a bag-carrying sales job, then the goals you have set and the milestones and accolades should be front and center, and the marketing takes a back seat. Now, I wouldn't say omit it all, because they are so close that sometimes that might give you the edge over the other person. Now let's take a recent college graduate, and with the current economy, I'm considering recent grads from 2008 on who might have only had one professional job after graduation, but others might have had none. You'll need two extremely different resumes for the waitress role you're trying to land to make ends meet versus the role to get a job in the chosen field of study. For all resumes, putting a 2 to 3 line summary at the top should reflect the job you're applying for. It might only be a few words that change, but that could be the difference between getting a call or not. So I hope this has been helpful insight into the world of HR, recruiting, and staffing professionals, but more importantly, I hope this provides you the motivation to take a look at your resume in a different light and to make sure you're getting the interviews you deserve. Good luck in your job search.